Hello and welcome to Mind Shifters Radio. I'm Tim Hayes. I'm your host for the first hour. And today, today is a Thursday, January 28th, 2021. And I'm having a little technical difficulty, so bear with me, please. And we are grateful to everyone who's here with us today, whether you're listening live or through the archives, as we spend another couple of hours teaching and supporting people in using some of the most powerful, effective, efficient, and accessible tools I've ever encountered in my over 46 years of doing therapy. And these tools are very gratefully available absolutely free at whyagain.org. If you go to that website and click on the red and white bullseye or the link in the upper left-hand corner of most pages that says Start Here, you'll be able to download and read Chapter 24 of Dr. Michael Ryce's book. His book is titled, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And that 24th chapter of that book is a narrative description of the primary tool in this work. That tool is called the Reality Management Wake-Up Sheet or Worksheet process. And it's a tool I can use to manage my emotions. It's a tool I can use to turn my negative emotions into a very productive guidance system. Help me turn the focus inside and use any negative emotional states that my mind and body are generating as the true signposts to how I can improve my life. And I've been doing that to great success for over 16 years now, and I encourage people to do that soon and often. You can also download the actual worksheet process itself, print it off, and use it as often as you'd like. You can also download a whole host of audio files of shows just like this one, where people have been stepped through that worksheet process, and therefore those audio files can serve as a tutorial for how to use this to improve your life. You can also go to your app store and type in the 3 words HeartLand Aramaic Forgiveness and get access to a completely free and private app. That app contains the Reality Management Worksheet. It also contains an abbreviated version of that worksheet, and it also contains a copy of the Dragon-Klingon game, which is a wonderful way to introduce these tools to even younger audiences. And as we say, we appreciate when people do that. Go there, download it, put that tool to effect soon and often, and then call us with your comments, your questions, your testimonials, your refutations, your requests for support in using it more effectively or efficiently. That's our purpose for being here. Our intention is to be of service, and it gets easier and easier to do that when people call in and ask a question or suggest a topic, etc. Today is a Thursday, and so we also have a support group that happens Thursdays. It's available on Zoom. It's available completely free. To find out more about that, how to join or pass that information along to somebody else, go to mindshiftersacademy.org, and there you'll find a separate page for the login information for the Tuesday group and the Thursday group. And we're also in this year of 2021, we're in the commitment to do one lesson a day from the Course in Miracles workbook. And yesterday's lesson was, above all else, I want to see. And today's lesson is, above all else, I want to see things differently. The commentary reads, today we're really giving specific application to the idea for yesterday. In these practice periods, you will be making a series of definite commitments. The question of whether you will keep them in the future is not our concern here. If you're willing to at least make them now, you have started on the way to keeping them. And we're still at the beginning. You may wonder why it is important to say, for example, above all else, I want to see this table differently. Well, in itself, that is not important at all. Yet, what is by itself? And what does in itself mean? You see a lot of separate things about you, which really means that you are not seeing at all. You either see or not. When you have seen one thing differently, you will see all things differently. The light you will see in any one of them is the same light you will see in them all. When you say, above all else, I want to see this table differently, you are making a commitment to withdraw your preconceived ideas about the table and open your mind to what it is and what it is for. You are not defining it in past terms. You are asking what it is rather than telling it what it is. You're not binding its meaning to your tiny experience of tables, nor are you limiting its purpose to your little personal thoughts. You will not question what you have already defined. And the purpose of these exercises is to ask questions and receive the answers. So in saying, above all else, I want to see this table differently, you are committing yourself to seeing, true seeing, not image creation. It is not an exclusive commitment. It is a commitment that applies to the table just as much to anything else, neither more nor less. You could, in fact, gain true vision just from that table if you would withdraw all your own ideas from it and look upon it with a completely open mind. That table has something to show you, something beautiful and clean and of infinite value, full of happiness and hope. Hidden under all your ideas about its real purpose is the purpose it shares with all the universe. In using the table as a subject for applying the idea for today, you are therefore really asking to see the purpose of the universe. You will be making this same request of each object and subject that you use in the practice periods. And you are making a commitment to each of them to let its purpose be revealed to you instead of placing your own judgment upon it. We will have 6 2-minute practice periods today in which the idea for the day is stated first and then applied to whatever you see about you. Not only should the subjects be chosen randomly, but each one should be accorded equal sincerity as today's idea is applied to it, in an attempt to acknowledge the equal value of them all in their contribution to your true seeing. As usual, the applications should include the name of the subject, whatever it is your eyes happen to light upon, and you should rest your eyes on it while saying, above all else, I want to see this hand differently, this phone differently, this cup differently, this person differently. Each application should be made quite slowly and as thoughtfully as possible. There is no hurry. And as we've discussed, we are also going through the book by Pam Grout titled The Course in Miracles Experiment. And her chapter 28 is titled, When the Universe Starts Saying, Hey Girl. She quotes Jawaharlal Nehru as saying, There is no end to the adventures that we can have if only we seek them with our eyes open. Pam writes, when we truly commit to wanting to see things differently, blessings start showing up. Or rather, we become open enough to notice them. We begin to recognize we're not really separate from that table, that seashell, that nasty politician. Gail, a newbie to one of my possibility poses, she bebopped in the other day brimming with excitement. She couldn't wait to give her report. She began her Saturday, as the course recommends, asking for a perfect day. She didn't specify what that entailed. She simply put in the order. Right away, her phone rang. A friend had 2 tickets for a Master Gardener's tour. Would she like to join? And then she was treated to lunch and had an enlightening visit with yet another friend, and then ended the evening at a Beatles reunion concert, swaying and singing All You Need Is Love with an entire room of happy humanoids. We, of course, applauded. That's what possibility posses do. Here's a footnote that said, a possibility posse is a group that gets together to talk about possibility, quantum physics, and the miraculous world that we choose to see. So, of course, we applauded. That's what our posses do. But secretly, I was wondering, is it too early to tell her that every day can be like that? Would it harsh her mellow to reveal that A Course in Miracles promises perfect days every single day? Lesson 28 reads, above all else, I want to see things differently. This lesson is crystal clear. Once we no longer bind our lives to our preconceived ideas, no longer define today in the past terms, no longer limit our experience to our personal little thoughts, our days offer infinite value, full of happiness and hope. So, that's the lesson for today, the commentary from the workbook, and the commentary from Pam Grout's book. And I thought I would let people know our call-in number is 563-999-3581. If you call that number and press 1, it'll put a little question mark by your phone number. And I thought I would share with the audience today a crowdsourced poem. And the crowdsourced poem is titled, This is Our Dream. And it was created by putting the request out on National Public Radio for people to submit a line or two of a poem. And the format is, I dream a world. And then thousands of people, over 2,000 people in just 3 days, submitted lines for this poem. From kindergarten children through grandparents, professional poets, etc. And then Kwame Alexander, who is the poet in residence at NPR, combined them into the following poem. It's a little bit long, but I'm going to go for it. This is our dream. I dream a world that sounds like a gentle good morning, like sleep tight at the end of the day, like Ella scatting a world filled with a universal song, a hallelujah of joyous rejoicing in this moment's gift of life. I dream a world in color where nature's artist takes the lead. Clear blue oceans and vibrant reefs, and all creatures thrive with what they need. Where peace floats from every direction, where it's not too late to change the people you hate, where race and color are not what the scales weigh, where the root of all evil is pulled up, and the rain pours down until the ground swells with fertile soil, where potential is the currency of the day, and you can be able to see what's next without being scared. I dream of that world, the one that lifts the silenced souls from shackles, where visions cannot be smothered beneath my eyes, beyond my reach, where what lies waiting aches to teach. I dream a world where a bridge is arching over troubled waters built on a foundation of truth, where children grow up learning only one kind of division, the long kind, a world where sharing goodness is commonplace, where deeds are done with heart and zest, where doing right should be the quest. I dream a world where every day is Earth Day and pollution is not a thing, where we take care of the ocean and the world, where masks are only for the ball that celebrates a new beginning for us all, where we can see every person smile, where the coronavirus goes away so we can go to school, where people can hug their family and friends whenever they want, where all have the luxury simply to sit and build a puzzle. I dream of seeing foxes walking in a field. I would like to walk with them. That is my wish. I dream a world where native fish fly free, unfettered, many miles to reach the sea, and those whose sacred presence on our shores predates the ships galore that brought conquerors, colonists, and slaves in chains, where the monarch butterflies are the only concern we have about migration. I hunger for that world, a safe world for children whose skin is darker than mine, a beautiful sunrise after the night, equity, kindness, color, and light, for my daughter's daughters and my son's sons. I dream of a world where the problems are the world, not the people debating them, where we lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms, where we know each other's joys and sorrows, all these days and all these morrows, where the news brings a smile. In a world, I dream a world straight, crooked paths are only for walking, a world drunk with self-esteem, fearless and ready, a world where you hold on to your dreams and I'll hold the door, pass right through because the world is yours. I dream a world where that world is not a dream, but awake, vigilant, community gardens on every corner, no more social media advertisements for body armor, people with mental health issues accepted as whole, a mosaic of humans not separated by color, opinion, or belief. Rusted cages, empty and unlocked, doors swung open, guards long since gone, where facts matter. A world as simple as a poem, written in pencil, full of mistakes and erasures, on the relentless path to its honest truth. Where, as soldiers of democracy nurturing us, teachers are publicly thanked for their service. I dream a world transparent, walls and floors built of some durable crystalline material, where we know which student is really watching a TikTok video when we leave a room for a moment. I dream a world where there is quiet enough to hear each other. The young care for the old, and the earth is cared for by all, where nations' boundaries blur by a bridge of millions of hands reaching across to embrace in oneness, where people are as free as the poet's meter, and inclusion is real, not demanded by law, but embraced with zeal, where I can be a black and woman and safe. I dream a world where white folks see all non-white folks in the land of the free as true heirs to their founders' liberty from oppression and powerful tyranny. I dream the world King dreamed for me, that the paved gold that America promises prospers where the playing field is level, the same for anyone willing and able, where we anchor to hope and all it brings? Do you not see it as time to finish what has begun, a world that we want to live in? Such is a world I dream of. And of course, that's an NPR resource. You can go to npr.org and search for This Is Our, well, it just disappeared, but npr.org and the poem of the dream. It's a crowdsourced poem. This is our dream. A crowdsourced poem to inspire hope. So, that's my offering for today. We've got 35 minutes left. Our call-in number is 563-999-3581. And if you call that number and press 1, we can have a conversation. What's on your mind? How might we be able to support you today? What's a contribution you'd like to make? What's a favorite poem that you want us to tap into and recommend for our audience? What's your favorite use of or favorite outcome from using any of the tools? The Reality Management Worksheet, or 3 Early Memories of Conflict. We are here and we are available. 563-999-3581. Susan, how can we support you today, or how will you offer to support us today?
Hi, Dr. Jim. That lesson has been so fantastic. I realize that if we want to see something differently, we actually are asking to see it. And if we really see it for any length of time, we lose it. We kind of lose all the definitions it ever had for us, and it becomes itself. And that's true of everything we look at until that's the first time I've ever gotten a visceral sense that everything is connected, that we're not separate. That was my thought for the day. So
I think that is the essence of what all of these exercises are pointing towards for us. The idea of what Michael Ryce has called the spiritual faculty of true perception. And, Michael talks about how our egoic mind, or sometimes he calls it the non-being mind, has a cheap knockoff for every one of the actual true spiritual faculties. And so for us, we use our perception, which is generated by the input from our 5 senses, and far more than we realize, but science is now telling us very clearly, by our past history, by our prejudices, by our belief systems. And so we are not accurately perceiving, we are not recording reality with our perception. We are constructing reality. And this is how and why so many of us can be looking at the same external events and come up with radically different, sometimes aggressively different perceptions. So the idea is every part of the Course in Miracles lessons is introducing us to the possibility that we can perceive accurately what we have long perceived in error.
I was surprised that the wording was that I want to see things differently, whereas before it's I want to see
differently.
And I got a little, Yeah, I got sidetracked on the thing part. But then the things in the definition, in the little text after, it says, I want to see this person differently. And the person takes us away from thingness. A person isn't exactly a thing. Of course, we treat them like things. But anyway, I wondered why that word thing was in there. And I had to smile to myself. You're too young probably to know that a posse is a bunch of people who are usually a cowboy term.
Yes, I remember that. It's just that as it's printed in the book, it seems
I know it has
to me
a thing by it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems to me to be alluding to something, and my brain just didn't recognize it as the old term for posse.
Yeah.
I probably want to see an EY on the end of it or something.
Right. It's sort of like someone else saying tribe. It's like a tribe.
Yeah.
In this case, I think she's using it that way. Anyway, I wanted to press one and say, it's posse, it's posse. You know that word.
I do know that word.
Yeah.
And I know how it's been used in more modern times to describe the groups of people that hang around pop stars and.
Well, they have. I thought that was groupie. I've never heard posse. That's fun.
Yeah, that's for the rap stars and the pop stars. It's a term that's been around. My brain didn't recognize it as it was presented. There might be a typo in my Kindle or whatever. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. I didn't make a mistake. It was a typo.
Right. That's it. Blame it on something. Right. Yeah, this lesson itself,
I would blame it on the bossa nova, but I don't have any music playing, so.
Yeah, right, distracted. And I wanted to say that idea in Pam Grout's book of that woman saying that was a perfect day. I was thinking to myself, oh my God, that is an introvert's nightmare day.
Yeah.
Terrible day. Too much
Clearly
stuff.
She's not an introvert. Yeah.
Right. I know. Anyway, thanks for your work with me yesterday on my arm. I'm so curious about the next steps. I did 3 worksheets. Should have done many more, but I mean, that's my goal for the day is 3 worksheets. I've done them. All the things you said, the result is that I have a much more mobile arm. The pain isn't gone, and I'm overthinking it now. I'm thinking, well, maybe this arm has reached its maximum health. Maybe I have arthritis in there. Maybe there is something unfixable in there. I'm losing my faith, in other words. But it's whatever we did so far is good. But if you have a how to go from here comment, I'd love to hear it.
Well, the first thing that popped into my mind is something that I looked up earlier today. I heard a story about an unsolvable math problem.
Mm-hmm.
That was solved by a student that didn't know it was unsolvable.
Oh, that's perfect.
He came into class late, and it had been written on the board, and the 1 or 2 problems were up there as assignments, and the unsolvable problem or unprovable theorem, as yet unproven theorem, was up there, and he just copied them all down and took them home and did them. And then his teacher, very excitedly said, "Wait a minute, do you realize what you've done?" He said, "Well, did I get them wrong?" He said, "No, not only did you get the ones right, but you also got the ones that are unsolvable right." And so it's similar to a story, and it's a true story. There was a George Dantzig, Dantzig is the person. And urban legend has grown up around it, but it's an actual true story from his life. And it reminds me of a story of work that was done with an incurable disease, and a hypnotist who assumed that the skin rash that was presented was just a simple skin rash, and so he did this hypnosis, and this disease went away. And when the other doctors who'd been working with this patient saw this miraculous healing, they went and told the guy, "Oh my God, what did you do?" And he said, "Oh, we just did this, induction and this suggestion, and well, you've got to do this again." And the guy, "What do you the skin rash?" He said, "No, it was this massive, incurable, failed disease, and you cured it." And as soon as they told him that, he was unable to replicate it.
Right.
As soon as they told him this can't be cured, and then they told the patient, this is an incurable disease, and the symptoms come back. So whatever you need to do to open your belief system, please do that. Because when you open your belief system, it's just like the lesson for today. When you believe that there's a different way to see the world's unfolding and the day's life events, you will start to have a different experience of your life.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are led to believe, if you hold on to the belief that what you see through your eyes is what your mind tells you it is, then you will continue to create that experience for yourself. That's the essence of today's lesson. So whenever you have a negative thought about yourself or somebody else, this is the bottom line observation. I think it's number 10. It's earned its way onto my list of observations. And it says, anytime I have a negative thought about myself or someone else, I can instantly know three things. The first thing I can know about it is it's false. It's based in a lie. The next thing I can know about it is it's not about what's going on in the world today. It's about the past. Course in Miracles tells us, I'm never upset for the reason I think I am.
Mm-hmm.
And the third thing I can know is if I take an action based on that negative thought or negative emotion, I'm going to make my current situation worse, not better. So when you have a thought, oh, what if my arm can't get any better and this is just arthritis and this is a permanent, you can instantly know it's a lie. You can instantly know it's not about the current situation with your arm. You can instantly know that if you take an action from that, you're going to make your situation worse rather than better. So next steps, what might happen as a next step? You might say, a mind shifter, that it's safe and healing for me to understand my infinite capacity for health and wellness, for healing and wholeness.
That's good.
And if that stirs up something negative, then you might start exploring, what's that about? Is there a thought in you that if you get completely whole and healthy, if you are able to heal, that you'll leave someone else behind? You just start playing with those kinds of ideas as you do the journaling.
That mind shifter, that's good. And it feels as if I wouldn't have much of a problem with it. But then again, I haven't put it on paper and started working on it. It sounds as if I believe it already, but that might be, who knows.
Well, but you also know that you don't believe it wholly because you've already begun to back away from it. You've already started throwing negative ideas on top of the healing that's happening. What if
You mean
it's arthritis? What if it can't get any better?
Oh, yeah.
What if you've already started feeding or at least entertaining ideas that contradict that mind shifter, that you are able to have total wholeness and wealth and health and wholeness and And as you uncover, if that spills out in the mind shifter, as you uncover it and then go to explore it, you might find that it's related to ideas you have that, how to say this, that those ideas are in relationship to others.
Other ideas?
Other people.
Other people. Oh, okay.
So if I get whole and healthy, but my husband still has his illness, or if I get healthy emotionally and my wife doesn't do her work and get healthy, then I have to leave her. And it's this rat's nest of interconnected thoughts that build a false sense of cause and effect that is so often driving our lives that we don't get to see it. And it's these tools like the Mind Shifter and the Reality Management Worksheet that are intended to be a spotlight into that darkness of that part of our consciousness that we refuse to look at, to shine a light, the light of awareness, on those convoluted, interconnected, false cause and effect relationships that we use to drive our life behaviors.
Right.
That's what all of this work is about, to shine the light of awareness on the false beliefs that I use to make my life decisions and behaviors.
So, Dr. Tim, two other things are going on. One is I'm loving the Glennon Doyle book. I'm almost through with it. There's a section I can't seem to find because I didn't mark the page. She talks about how she's a bad friend. Do you remember that part of the book? It's sort of like a third of the way in. She says, I don't do coffee, I don't do this, I don't do that. I can't remember the list. It was
yes, I remember that.
Yeah. Do you have your book, the Doyle book, on Kindle, and can you do a word search?
Okay, what are you looking for?
I mean, bad friend. There's a whole list, and she also has another section in there about how an ideal friend, it's like the mirror opposite of I'm a bad friend. It's a great friend is a friend that doesn't have expectations, doesn't guilt trip you. You can talk after a year and it's like you never stop talking. I forget. It was another wonderful list, and I can't give you word searches for that because I don't remember a phrase that would be enough to do the search with. Anyway, I just wondered if it helped me so much, because one of the reasons I stopped being friends with that woman that I keep talking about is for those very reasons. Somehow there were conditions. There were lots of little conditions on the friendship that I didn't want to fulfill for whatever reason. It was new to me to have someone put that many conditions on a friendship and be so mad if the conditions weren't met. But I was flattered that she was so intense about wanting a friendship. So I got confused, because that's my old garbage, If somebody really wants to be in a relationship with me, well, I better hop to, because that's really a precious thing. You don't just throw that away. They're hard to come by. A lot of beliefs connected with that. That was just one really rich part of the book that I liked. I also loved the part where she talked about how she started going to church and thought she had found her posse, found a community, and then it turned terribly bad because of the minister's views on abortion and homosexuality. But she does the most amazing thing about taking her thoughts much further than I could in explaining why this is just untenable and she had to leave. I'm just reporting. I just love that part of it too. One thing that scares me about the book is she seems to have this absolutely romantic, ideal relationship with her wife. And it's like exactly like the ideal romantic relationship that's been put in front of us for years about a male-female relationship, being in love forever, having all your needs met, having the other person know just exactly what you need and fulfilling it, and having the romance last forever. And I'm thinking, bullshit, 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 bullshit. Are you bullshitting me? Is this possible? So this is a real
when you keep going in that, you'll find the place where her wife helps her realize that she needs to be able to have the connection after that phase. So if you haven't gotten there,
good.
keep reading. Keep reading.
Thank
because
you,
her
Dr.
wife because what's clear is that Glennon had never experienced that kind of really whole, resonating affection, connection, cherishing. She'd never felt it before.
Yeah.
Her wife had. And so her wife was sitting there watching her, knowing this was an entirely new world for Glennon, and also knowing this phase of the relationship doesn't last forever. So if you keep reading, you'll find it.
Thank you. It's so good to hear.
And then on page 109, there's a thing about, during dinner I thought about how much I liked Liz and how sad it was that we wouldn't actually be able to be friends. Attempting to be her friend would be like intentionally writing a bad check. I am not a good friend. I have never been capable of or willing to commit to the maintenance that the rules of friendship dictate. I cannot remember birthdays. I do not want to meet for coffee. I will not host the baby shower. I won't text back because it's an eternal game of ping pong. It never ends. I inevitably disappoint friends. So after enough of that, I decided I would stop trying. I don't want to live in constant debt. This is okay with me. I have a sister and children and a dog. One cannot have it all. Is that the part you were talking about? Yeah.
Yes, it is. I love it. I just love it.
But she was talking about meeting Elizabeth Gilbert and clicking right away.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks after the event, Liz sent her an email saying she thought we should try friendship. And she sent along a poem. And there's that back and forth where the poem reads, I honor your gods, I drink at your well, I bring an undefended heart to our meeting place. I have no cherished outcomes. I will not negotiate by withholding. I am not subject to disappointment. And Glennon said, this was brand new. She offered a new friendship that is there for us, and there would be no arbitrary rules, obligations, or expectations. We would not owe each other anything other than admiration, respect, love, And that was already done. And so Liz and Glennon became friends. So that's page 109 if you were looking for that in your book.
Thank you so much. I want to copy those out. It's like permission to be who I am. Here's this woman who was able to put that stuff down on paper, to form it in her head rather than just rankling around in a morass of bad feelings and self-blame and not knowing why I'm such a bad friend. But all of those things make sense, and most of my friendships are like that. There isn't any bartering, and if somebody doesn't answer somebody, if 4 or 5 days go by, somebody might say, "Are you there? Are you okay?" But that seems perfectly acceptable. But to guilt trip someone for not answering back on a text or something like that, I've never had a friend who was so minutely specific about wanting certain things in a certain time frame, and it didn't fit. And it didn't fit not only because of the demands. The fact of it is I wasn't enough in love with her. I do know that I have to be kind of in love with someone to be a friend. And since I'm so amorphous in my sexual orientation, across the board, I can say to myself, there's chemistry there. There's a draw there. I bet you that's universal. We don't talk about that either. But in previous talks with you, I have just felt much more comfortable being able to talk this way and have it be okay. So I'm kind of going all over the place. Oh, I just got a text from Joan Tufts. She says, what book are we talking about? So why don't you stay on the show?
It is the book Untamed. It's a one-word title, Untamed by Glennon Doyle.
Very good book, Joan, if you're listening.
And a trigger warning for some people. This is a woman who is a very good writer, and she had a career as a writer, as a Christian writer. She was married. She had 3 kids. And then it all fell apart. And then, because her husband had affairs. And then she wrote a book about how they put the marriage back together and they saved everything. And then, as she was going out on the book tour to promote the new book, The Christian Writer, with all of this, she fell madly in love with a woman. And then she had to face this whole very deep level of, what's the truth of my life? Can I live my truth? Am I hiding it? And so, trigger warning. This is not. She's had a lot of people, as you mentioned, Susan, that you'd read some reviews that were people were saying they want her to go back to being a Christian, and they want her to, toe the party line rather than speak her truth. So there's a trigger warning for people. The reason I recommend the book is nothing to do with any of the politics or the sexuality. It has to do with the theme of being deeply honest. And it's very much the same as the book We Are the Luckiest. And I promote, those 2 books because here are these 2 women who are really good writers, and they have lived into the observation that in order to be whole, to be healthy, to heal and move forward, they have to be more and more deeply honest with themselves and others, continually deepening that honesty and exploring it. So let me turn on the microphone for, I believe it's Ellen 484.
Yes. Hi, Dr. Tim. Hi, Susan. Hi, Ellen. Hi. Hey, I just wanted to make a comment on Susan's original comment on today's lesson. And there was something that really, just like the word things, jumped out to you, Susan. What jumped out to me is how the word he used to describe those things. It was somewhere, I think, towards the end of the lesson, where we were talking about applying the idea, and he called the things subjects. He didn't call them objects. And that really jumped out at me because I would have called them objects, a table, a chair, whatever. But he refers to them as subjects, which is so important because that just goes to show you that it's subject, all these things are subject to you. They're a part of you. They're not separate from you. And I just wanted to point that out because it's kind of referring, the things are subjects. So I just thought that was really interesting. I don't think I ever caught that before when I read that lesson.
Oh, thanks. I didn't catch it either. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I read that as saying that it's a clearer way of stating that whatever my focus of my attention is becomes the subject of my attention. It has its own value and experience, and yet I make it my subject for this period of time.
Mm.
It's the subject I'm focusing on. It's not defined by that except by me. So it's not a thing, it's just the subject of my attention in this moment.
Yeah.
And of course, the more we do this kind of a lesson, the more we step into the opening ourselves to finding out more about the truth of this energy, of this piece of creation that we're focusing on and making our subject for the moment.
Yeah, because what it seems like to me is like when we're not truly seeing, of course, we're only seeing what is, what we're putting on it. So of course, then it's subject to us, subject to our perception of it. But it also seems like once that disappears, that those errors dissolve, and we're able to truly see it, we'll see it as subjects. We'll see the objects as subjects only because we will see that there is no separation. It's everything is part of us. There's really nothing objective out there. So it's like at both levels, that word really works, whether we're not really seeing or whether we really are seeing. So I just really like that.
Yeah, Joan is asking for the difference between subject and object. What were you going to ask, Susan?
We are in a major family shift here, and the lesson is beautiful for that too. My son has gotten papers for having a medical leave of absence from his medical practice for an indefinite amount of time. For him, this is a huge step, and he has a lot of self-doubt, a lot of guilt, anxiety, beating himself up about the fact that he is a really great doctor with great bedside manner and is absolutely exhausted and burned out, and that he has a thought disorder. He recognizes it as that. He is very anxious every morning, but more anxious on Mondays, which convinces him it's a thought disorder because why just Monday? He's facing a week of extreme pressure with add-ons and add-ons and add-ons, and it's very political, money-oriented. His boss is very interested in, well, I shouldn't go into all that stuff, but in any case, he had to step away, and he informed his partners and his boss, and they've all been absolutely wonderful to him and said, we understand, take the time, I feel for you, I know how you feel, I've been feeling some of that too, very, very good stuff, but already he is still seeing, and I'm seeing with him, the old paradigm of making money, being successful, using your talents, helping humanity, and he's pushing his own life into a box by trying to fulfill all these exterior demands. I send him the miracles lessons every day, and he reads them every morning, and he says he gets this little wash of relief because these things are true that he's reading. He said, and so today, above all, I want to see things differently. But just that for me, the challenge is to see him and his struggle differently, to welcome it, to breathe, to see him as having taken a courageous, good step, a healthy person's step, and not being afraid. So just to say, this is sort of a testimonial, just to say that the lesson is so, so helpful. And I keep veering off my lane and pulling back in and veering off and pulling in. The temptation to go into the old track is just hard. It's just amazing.
So it has a lot of momentum.
Yeah.
So just try looking at it, try thinking of it, try speaking of it that way. Instead of it's so hard, wow, this has a lot of momentum. This thought keeps coming back. I must have practiced this thought a lot. Just try conceptualizing it differently and notice the impact it has on you. Because remember what our lessons have told us so far from Course in Miracles. The impact of my thoughts on me is self-created. They don't have any meaning that I don't give them.
Mm-hmm.
So when you know, so often when you call and you talk about things, and I am very grateful that you do, you talk about how hard things are, and when I'm on top of my game, when I'm paying attention and I hear it, I intervene and say, let's take a look at that. Let's have you examine, just observe, take a breath and step back and observe how you're creating the experience of difficulty for something that has no meaning, for something that's meaningless.
That's so
my
true.
Meaningless thoughts cause my upset. Go back a few lessons, and it's right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm turning something meaningless into a tool for creating a false sense of difficulty and pain in my life.
Yeah.
And so when you hear that, take that kind of breath and step back and say, oh, I guess this thought pattern has a lot of momentum with me. I guess I've practiced this negative thought quite a bit. I wonder if I could choose differently.
Yeah, great. So great. Thanks. What were you going to say, Ellen?
My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability.
My perfect safety. My perfect safety.
And in fact, the attack thoughts are like not thinking at all. There's no meaning. And just think about it. It's a thought. It's a thought. What is a thought? What is a thought?
And if you have a negative thought about yourself or somebody else, or a negative emotion, you can instantly know these three things. It's a lie. It's based in a falsehood. It's from an old tape playing in my mind. And if I act from it, it's going to make my current situation worse. And that is a universal observation. That's every thought. That's what these lessons are calling us to. My meaningless thoughts are creating my upset. I'm upset because I see a world that isn't there. Just go back and reread the lessons and see how they apply directly to this.
They do. I should, yeah.
Well, I realize that we have gone through the whole hour. Thank you so much, Susan and Ellen, for your calls and comments, as always. We're back again tomorrow, and then go ahead.
No, I just said thank you.
All right, you're entirely welcome. Thank you so much, and I will remind us all that we come from love. We're made of this stuff we call love. We actually are love, and everything else is false. Welcome, Jeannie Ryce.
Thank you, Dr. Tim. Good conversation, ladies, as always.
I think you may not have been here.
Thank you, Dr. Tim. Good conversation, ladies, as always.
I think you you may not have been here near the beginning. I read a poem from NPR, from nationalpublicradio.org. This is our dream. It was a crowdsourced poem to inspire hope. You might want to put that in the notes for the second half.
This is our dream? Okay.
This is our dream, a crowdsourced poem to inspire hope, and it's available for free at npr.org.
Okay.
All right.
Got it.
Have a lovely show.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tim.